Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Edmonton, Canada. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels, go longer, Quintana, HOKA on Form Smart Swim Goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Premium Plus Sports, and of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Olympic gold medalist, Ironman world champion. Who else can say that? Mr. Kristian Blummenfelt. How you doing, Kristian?
I'm very good, yeah. It's nice to be back in Edmonton. It's like 10 months ago since I raced here for the short distance grand final. So bringing back a lot of good memories. And also, yeah, it's going to be an epic weekend ahead. You know, it's 100 grand on the line for the winner.
I know, right?
And it's so good to be back for the PTO. Like I missed the race in Daytona 2 years ago when it's sort of similar concept.
Yeah,
so
same type of prize money, absolutely.
Really looking forward to Sunday.
And when you look at, it's a deep field, but there's one guy who you're looking at.
Yeah, that's the guy living in the same corridor as me up in 11th floor, Gustav. He won the 100K race 2 years ago and also the last 7.3 World Championships. So for sure, he is the man to beat over half distance. And also I think Lionel is kind of climbing, not the ranks, but kind of getting better and better for each month. So he's also going to be a very strong guy to race against.
You've been on this course before. It's one of those, it's not your typical put your head down and go. It's more like an ITU race because it's multiple laps on the bike and it's climbing and descending and turns. You like this type of format?
Yeah, it is. Or especially like the punchy hills, like it's a few minutes or maybe a minute and a half up the hills where you can really go above your standardized racing power, and then a little bit of air sections and also downhill. So it's not a course where you will probably be struggling with cramps in your quads like we saw in Daytona.
Yes.
So it's maybe easier for the more non-traditional cyclist, I would say. But yeah, raced this course a few times before. It's some of the section we had last year, like the first hill, and the second part of the course, it's where we raced the grand final back in 2014. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of putting all the races I've done earlier into one.
So it was funny because I was talking to your coach, and he was saying that we're doing Ironman now, but the goal is to go to Paris and go and get back to the Olympics. And usually when someone goes from the Olympics to long, they don't go back to the Olympic distance, but you guys are.
Yeah, I think no one really have had success going back from long to short.
Yes.
But for now, all the focus is to win Hawaii. That's like the one race I want to win. And from there on, it's turning everything like all we have done in terms of long distance preparation. We try to go back again, finding leg speed for Paris. So even by end of this year, I would like to do Bermuda and Abu Dhabi, short distance, just to get a little bit of experience back in again. And then next year, it's going to be all about Paris, trying to defend the title.
So no Ironmans in 2023?
No full distance Ironman.
So it might be some 70.3s.
Yeah, maybe 7.3 or PTO. If they still have like this tour, I think that's something I would like to combine with the short distance and the calendar. But yeah, it will be kind of the same focus we had towards Tokyo. We will do it towards Paris.
The other thing that's very exciting this year is you guys have a race in your hometown, in Bergen. And you'll be racing, Casper will be racing, Gustav will be racing. Is that sort of like a bragging rights race that you guys want to make sure that one of you wins it?
Of course you want to win when you're racing at home. So it's downtown, really in the middle of Bergen in 5-6 weeks. It's a week after the Collins Cup.
Okay.
So... and it's a sprint distance, so it's not like they make it easy for us when we do like this Ironman focus year to try to squeeze in a sprint distance and try to win at home.
Yes.
But it's going to be special racing at home downtown, and of course I hope to have a little bit of leg speed, but also I'm very aware that my focus now is towards Hawaii, and that's the training that we do. But I hope to be up there.
So you win at Ironman St. George, which was really a brutal course, right? And when I look at your, 49, 40, 418, 238.01, 749, if someone said before the race that someone was going to go that fast with so much climbing on that course, I think people would have been surprised. Did you surprise yourself with how fast you went there?
Yeah, or the power on the bike was maybe around there. I was thinking like on a good day, but I think we had good conditions with the wind.
Yes.
So we were all kind of moving fast on the bike course. I was hoping to go faster on the swim. I didn't have the swim I wanted to, so I lost 2 minutes on the swim and then lost another 3 minutes on the bike to
Right.
the front pack. So I think ideally I should have been further up before the run.
Right.
So yeah, it's good learnings for going into Hawaii. I think I have to step up the game before October.
Well, and the nice thing about Hawaii, if St. George's obviously was very good for you, Kona should be better because you can just put your head down and think about power.
Yeah, it's less climbing. Like it's half of the climbing as we did in St. George. So if you look at the time, like it's 2 minutes faster than I think they do in Hawaii.
Right.
Of course, the humidity is higher, most likely in, or it should be in Kona. But the temperature was still warm in St. George, and the climbing on the run was also quite tough.
Right.
So I think with okay condition, I think we can go significant faster in Hawaii.
So when I look back at 2016 Olympics, and we had a conversation at Nice in 2019, and I was like, gosh, you did really well in the Olympics. Like, no, if you're from Norway, if you're not on the podium, nobody cares, right? And you and Gustav have really gotten so much better since 2016. What's been the biggest change?
I wouldn't say anything has changed really. Like we are the same.
Sort of, yeah.
We're the same group. Like we do kind of go to training camps together, like we did 10 years ago. So like in the group, I think we train as hard as we did 10 years ago.
Right.
But maybe the way the outside people is looking at us now, we have like more respect from other groups, and of course we have more results. But
Results make the difference.
But like the way we live and the way we travel and do our training I would say is much the same.
Yes. And is it hard to be friends with somebody who you're training? I mean, when I look at the history of our sport, Scott Molina, Scott Tinley, Mark Allen, all those guys trained together in the 80s. And then they went out and they would travel together and room together and then try to kick the other guy's ass, right? And then get back in a car and drive to the airport and do it again. With this sport, can you be friends with the people you have to train with and then race?
Yeah, I think so. It makes it, personally, it makes it easier for myself to do the training when I have Gustav there, like, because he's helping me lifting my training up, and hopefully I'm helping him increasing his level. So it's just making sure that we both get that kind of help from each other.
What makes Gustav great?
In training, he is able to do the training like weeks in and weeks out.
Yes.
Over a longer period of time. So it's easy to find someone who can join you for 2 weeks, but he can be there for like a full season.
Yes. Yeah.
And also like the moral, like he's like often positive, like in training he's not complaining, he's there and he's doing the job and taking his turn to the front.
So the one thing we have not seen is you and Gustav like side by side in the run, right? You like when Gustav won 70.3 Worlds, you had a bike issue, and when you won Olympics, he was back in 8th, I think, something like that. Have you had races where the two of you are side by side?
Actually, once, I think I'm the only one who's beating him over an Olympic distance. So back in 2018 in Bergen, when we did the 70.3,
yes.
I took him by 21 seconds.
Yes.
We were running side by side until it was like 6K to go. And I was sprinting all I had for the last 5-6K and managed to get 21 seconds on him. So hopefully we can have a similar battle with a similar outcome.
So you guys would look forward to that, to being side by side, coming off the bike and just hammering.
Yeah, of course, because you want to win the battle, and you want to win. Know that you're beating someone kind of fair and square.
Right. And when you guys first started training, we're talking 2008, 2009, that year when all the Norwegians started training together, was the goal then Olympics or was it Ironman?
It's been always the Olympics.
Okay.
So since we started with the youth national team, like we had actually both 2020 and also 2024 in our goal. So when we got financial support from the Olympic team, we had like, all the way towards 2024 that we had a lot of time to prepare. But also in the back of our mind, we always thought that long distance is easy. Like,
Isn't that's sort of the mentality when you're doing the ITU racing? It's like they just go slow, long.
and when we start racing like in Norway as a juniors, then when we suddenly start winning like the national championship in Olympic distance, then the older generation back then, they said, yeah, they might be good over Olympic distance, but they can't beat us in 70.3s. Okay. And then Gustav raced in Haugesund and he won that race. And then they said, yeah, they might be good over 70.3, but Ironman is different. Ironman is different, you know. You can't come with that. So I think we have always kind of been triggered by that. That of course we can do long distance.
Of course you can. Yeah. And you won your first Ironman, right?
And he did, and
he won his first Ironman. So you sort of show that not just won them, but went faster than anybody else has gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's very cool. And so then after, I know I'm looking ahead, but after Paris, then you look forward to going back to long distance, or
yes.
You never know.
So that's a nice thing now. I have qualified for 5 years with
for Kona, so you don't need to go do another Ironman.
So I don't need. Hopefully, I will still be able to win Paris and be able to get that wild card if I needed to.
Right.
But yeah, I don't need to validate, I think, or race between Paris Olympics and Hawaii. So hopefully I can go and turn everything as quickly as possible into long distance.
What's that time frame between Paris and Kona?
Not sure. I haven't seen the calendar yet, but maybe
like
12
July
weeks
to October. That's plenty of time.
12 weeks maybe?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can turn it around.
Hopefully.
Doing that type of
and this time around I have the experience.
Yes.
So I've done a few Ironmans before having to do it like the first time around. So hopefully that will make it easier to know what to do and not just have to experience around.
So you obviously have done a lot of hot races. You've got Kona coming up, which is everybody knows Kona. The heat is the big equalizer there. Do you do special heat training for this?
Or of course we have to do the acclimation part.
Right.
So and also the nutrition strategy like during the race and also the way we practice going into it. So we used a lot of time preparing for Tokyo and trying to figure out how to deal with that, and I think we can use the same knowledge going into Hawaii.
Right. And obviously Norway was not known as a triathlon country until you guys came along, and you've changed everything. More notoriety for the sport in Norway now with you as an Olympic champion and Ironman world champion?
Yeah, I think it's getting more and more kind of publicity, so it's cool. But also it's been like in Tokyo, it wasn't just me winning medals, but it was like the best Olympic Games in a long time. So also in athletics, so it's cool to be a part of that wave with new athletes coming through.
Now, in terms of cyclists, in terms of swimmers, Norway's doing a great job across the board.
That's right, and in endurance sport in general.
Why?
I'm not sure. Like,
I mean, obviously you have a history with Nordic.
Yeah, I don't think that helps too much. No. Like, it's very different groups, but I think it's just like new young generation hungry for proving that we can go through. I don't know.
I love it. So when we were getting ready for Ironman World Championship, I had a clock for everybody to autograph.
Yeah.
And Kristian, was first thing you did was sign on the number one.
Signing on the number one, you know, you have to mentally put yourself up there.
You really do, don't you?
Yeah. And I think if you, like before a race, if you really target like you're honest with yourself and you say that you want to win, like that's your goal, and you put your almost like your head on the table, then when you are in the race having 10, 15, 20 minutes left of the race and you're really struggling, then you know that your head is already on the table. You have to do it there, you know. You have to dig deep to get there.
And speaking of digging deep, one of the best examples of that was you at the Olympics, because you're running side by side with this guy Alex Yee, who's considered the best runner in the sport. And the last thing you want is to see the blue carpet with him still in the same zip code. So you had to make a move, a K out.
Yeah, that's right. So I did sort of the same tactic as I did for the races before the season in Yokohama, Lisbon. So I thought that, okay, if I go about 5 minutes out from the finish line, then I can really take advantage of my engine, my VO2 max, and hopefully open up a big enough gap before the sprint. So the whole run I was just waiting for those 5 minutes.
Yes.
And in the beginning, the first 5K, I was sort of like, still like 8, 9, 10 guys here. Like, aren't you supposed to be dropping off, you know? Like,
What are you guys still doing here?
but then finally, with 3K to go, we got that separation where we
Yes.
had me, Alex, and Hayden. And I think there is still, because I put my head on the table like before the race, saying that it's all about that gold medal. I think I was still focusing on, okay, that 5 minutes, that last 5 minutes.
And it's easy to go, okay, there's 3 of us. I'm guaranteed a medal. I'm fine because I don't know if I want to suffer that bad. But it takes a special talent to go, no, if I'm on the podium, I'd rather not be looking up at anybody. I want to be at the top of the podium. I want to hear my anthem.
Yeah, and also they are a few years younger than me, so they have a second chance later, I guess.
Kristian, thank you for always being so generous with your time, and you're a great champion. I love what you represent, and thanks so much for taking time to join us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Kristian Blummenfelt has been our guest, everybody. Breakfast with Bob. We are in beautiful Edmonton, Canada, and this gentleman will be up there all day long on, what do you guys race? Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday
correct.
racing. Be watching on PTO.